a chance to review the safety rules?
I'll start out. I reviewed them. There's something I think that needs to be added that I think it just be overlooked, and that's that the horse cannot be tethered to a movable object. Say, you know, if they stop on the street, they can't tie the horse off to a car or a truck bumper, a trailer, a motorcycle. It can't be a movable object. And then also, they shouldn't be tethered to mailboxes, parking meters. People utilize those, and it might prevent somebody from getting close to the meter or the mailbox. Also, they must not block sidewalks, building entrances, or exits if they tethered a horse or they're standing.
Is that what you would think?
Barely understand.
Yeah.
Who's Christina?
Anything that's not here is that we don't like untether the horse.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how often that would happen.
Right. But if they don't say it,
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, I don't think the rules that. All the road, there. All I just want for helmet. I mean, on the helmet thing, all the videos you see of the people are falling on the horse.
Right.
The horse rear up, they're not wearing a helmet. I'm pretty sure it's wearing a motorcycle or even a bicycle. The helmet rule, why not a horse, which I would say is even more than.
Hey guys, this is Jose. If I could interrupt here.
startled or to be unpredictable.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Is that you, Jose?
Yes, this is Jose. I wasn't going to interrupt because I did I'm a former cop. I'm an equine expert. I did a really in-depth review of all those rules, and I think I could save a lot of time of everybody if you could listen to me for about 5-7 minutes, a summary of all those rules and combining a lot of them together. Because some of the rules that you guys have, and I'll, like for example, if you take all those rules, number them 1 through 14 from top to bottom, I'm going to ask you to circle these ones because these should be excluded, and I'll explain why. So it's number 3 that talks about appropriate saddle. Number 5, keeping both hands on the reins. Number 6, keeping both feet on the stirrups. Number 8, keep not carrying anything which might affect your balance. And number 11, tricks, rearing up, and other show behaviors. And I know that's the number 1 focus, hoping to stop. If the goal is to have safe riding, these rules that you have right there, all of them conflict with one state law called Chapter 90, Section 14, which basically allows a horse rider or a person with a carriage to signal to all motorized vehicles to stop because the horse may be frightened. So all of those rules that I mentioned allow for too much. First of all, they're unsafe because those restrictions restrict the rider to ride in a safe way, the way they're used to. And I'll go one by one real quick. For example, even though it seems like it's safer riding with a saddle, it's actually not. The saddle's in the way. It's just they do it for shows and all that. Hold on.
Wow.
All right, so if that's what, if I could explain, I would like a little bit of respect here, please, because I'll explain. So some people ride with one rein, some people ride with no saddle. Riding with no saddle, if you're a horse rider, actually gives you really close contact with a horse and allows you to be in better balance. And so some people ride with no halter or no bridle, they just use the bit. So restricting to a specific way may be a problem and too much discretion for police to use that. The other one, number 5, rule number 5, keeping both hands on the reins unless you're signaling. Well, that's a preference because there's neck reining, which you can only use or you only use one hand to move both reins at the time. There is, it's much more comfortable to other riders to use one hand, and then there's other people's to don't even use the reins for anything. They, you know, like I do. My horse gets signals from sitting. It's like called dressage. So that's a restriction. I'm just saying, you know, keeping both feet in the stirrups, rule number 6. The stirrups are actually there for some balance for beginners, what have you. But if you think about that bad video where it shows that horse rearing, that guy that did that bad riding and he was about to fall, if there was a saddle, and I mean, if he had his feet in the stirrups, there would be absolutely no time for him to take his feet off the stirrups, and that's where danger comes in. So stirrups, even though they're just a guide, people shouldn't be don't ride putting their feet on the stirrups for complete balance. It's just a guide. And then number 8, not carrying anything which might affect your balance or get tangled up with reins. Well, that also allows for too much discretion that might get, you know, of what the police may do, or what is something that might affect the balance of a rider or tangled up. It's too much discretion for police. And I say that, and I'll say this part real briefly. Even though these guys are doing unsafe riding, I've never done that. And there's a lot of people in Springfield who've never done that. But there has been lots of reported emails I got from the previous commissioner, the current commissioner, of ongoing relentless police stopping the riders, even me, for no reason. Just, you know, so that has to be considered when we talk about the police stopping these riders. Number 11, tricks, rearing up, and other show behaviors are not permitted. As much as I would like to, by the way, we're on the same side. We want to have safe riding. As much as I would like to, we can't restrict some of. So if a horse is rearing, how does the police officer know if the guy did it intentionally or if the horse is frightened? That law is the one that specifically conflicts with 9014, giving the rider the legal right to signal all motorized vehicles to stop and shut off their engines until I say that they can go by.
If I can just say something about that 90 section 14, it basically gives anyone on a horse a trump card if they're on the city street. So
I can barely understand you, sir.
You gave the respect. I gave the respect and interrupt you. If you could just not interrupt me, that'd be great. The point, chapter 90, section 14, it basically gives a horse all horse, any pull over or just not drive like they normally do. In 2020, the public is not used to horses, or they don't even know that rule. The whole point of this permanent horses on the city streets is because we want to know when and where these horses are going to ride, and we're not going to have them ride in the entertainment district, for example. That is just too many people riding their horses, or riding their cars, or going out throughout the day at work to allow these horses to just come into the city and basically have all these other cars just stop or pull over just so a couple horses can ride by the city. The fact is, it's 2020, and it's just not something that the general public is used to, and I think it's unsafe for
the horse is a form of enjoyment. and we're trying to allow it in the city. It's not a primary form of transportation anymore. And we're
Right.
trying to, the obstruction with the flow of traffic and commerce in and out of the city, especially with a lot of the big trucks and stuff that come in through the city and down city streets. But we want the riders of the horses to also be safe and for the animal to be safe. And to go over a few things that you said, I understand, yes, and we can look at both hands on the reins. Like you said, some people do just ride with one hand on the reins. But speaking with other experts, the fact that we're requiring a saddle and rein and also stirrups, because even though, you know, we take what you say, that they appear to be safer and are able to control the horse better. And the other aspect of the reins are, if the owner or the rider is not available to control the horse, due to say a medical, somebody else will be able to take the reins and control a horse. A horse without reins would be very hard to control.
Right, no, but what I was saying, sir, was, you know, restricted that it has to have both hands on the reins. That's the really primary reason for that. Thank you.
So it was,
Stupid.
normal having one hand on the reins, or minimum of one hand on the reins.
One hand on the reins, at least one hand on the reins at all times.
Would that be something that you'd be willing to?
Well, I think we're gonna.
Minimum of one hand on the reins?
I can. Is that a question for me? I can understand.
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry. Would that be
I'm getting a lot of background noise.
Yeah, it's
Like
because
that- Yeah,
I think
that's
that
you.
no, it's not me. I'm not moving. I think the moderator should put
Yeah,
us all on mute and take turns putting us on mute while we talk. I think.
yeah, because I haven't said anything and I keep hearing a lot of noise. That's all. Go ahead.
well, we don't have that option because
Okay, all right. Respectful as best we can.
That was-
does anyone have any additional comments on the rules of the road for the horses, and the safety rules?
And officers are not specifically gonna go looking, to be a detriment to people that, that are riding horses.
Agree, they're
Officers
saying.
are going to be, if they do, responding to complaints, if they do get them, and, they're gonna be looking to see if, the horses are following the rules of the road, and also whether or not they, acquired a permit. Those are the biggest things. And as far as rearing up, I think you would know, I think it's common sense when a horse is rearing up or if somebody's showing off.
Well-
Depending on where they are when they're doing it.
Well, yeah, you're correct, sir. The only thing about the hard when you're going to be asking, you can see a horse rearing up, but now the cop has to determine was that horse rearing up because the rider did it intentionally or because he was frightened. Do you understand what I mean? That 90-14, you got to be able to give the opportunity for the rider. That's why they have that law to signal all people to stop. And to, you know, even though that video shows that that rider did that intentionally, it wasn't done on purpose. It was that he put the horse in a dangerous situation with all those motorcycles. And so it was going to happen no matter what. So, yes, thank you.
That was not an isolated incident. That actually happens. I have 3 different videos in 3 different instances where that is happening. And it's because they continuously put these horses in situations that are not safe. So I think what Mr. Harrow is talking about is not what is happening in the city. That may be what he's used to doing. But the whole genesis and reason for this conversation is because in Springfield, what's going on, is not safe, any of it, at all.
Right. But so the thing about that though, instead of, we could still solve it about the rearing, but instead of putting a
It's
condition
not just
that
about the rearing though, sir. So the law
I
that
know
we're
it's,
talking
I know
about
it's,
is actually 115 years old, the law that you're referencing. It's a mass general law that's 115 years old and was put in place when horses were an actual mode of transportation in the state.
right. So,
That's
but
the
if
law
we're
that you're
deciding,
referencing.
if we're deciding about horses should be an actual mode of transportation in Springfield, or whether we want safe riding, it's a two different thing. So,
Well,
Excuse,
it's already been
excuse,
decided. The rules of the road have been adopted.
excuse me. Can I make a comment?
okay.
Fred Schubert, most people that I talk to think, why do they want to ride horses in the city? We're trying to give them a permit to ride at various times, you know, but most people say it's crazy to be wanting to ride horses around in Springfield unless it's a parade, a special venue, but to ride through the communities, most people that own horses have barns and stables. They have places to ride their horses. Every now
Well,
and then, we don't want an occurrence. We're trying to work with you, and we need to make it as safe as possible to give you some access. And it seems like you're giving us pushback.
no, I'm not. I mean,
But
I was gonna.
let me finish. Let me just finish. Most
Yes.
people don't even want the horses on the street. And when we get to the 20-5, I don't like the fine situation, so I'm not going to go there until we get there because of what people already seen in the past. So I think we need to move it along. Are we going to vote on these rules, or what are we going to do? We're going to make amendments so we can get to other items. Robert, I'll give it back to you. Hold on, sir. What do you guys think, Claudio?
Yeah, so these are just additions. So we have the permit to ride the city. That's an ordinance or a rule of the road. But because of, we just want to add to this permitting process. So yes, you're allowed to ride in the city of Springfield with the correct permit, as long as you show us that your horse is all the correct shots, that your horse is at a stable. And in addition that you're riding your horse safely according to the rules of the safety rules of the road for riding horses that we're trying to pass today.
All right, so we're going to vote on these?
And also that, just in addition that the permit, one small amendment for the designation of the Metro Business District. It's not going to be west by West Columbus, but it's going to be west by the river.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to interrupt. This is Jose again. I'm going to interrupt one more last time, and this will be it. I know I heard a gentleman just talk about most that most people don't want. I can tell you that even though I'm the only one here, there's thousands of horse persons interested and been riding quietly, safely in Springfield for years. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I am fully aware of the dangers of the recent riding with andadura, excessive riding, and rearing. I do have solutions, but if, I wanted to give those solutions. For example, the rearing can be solved without restricting people 90-14, when the horse is frightened. All that has to be added in the articles is that you should, a horse rider or a person with a carriage cannot put in a horse, unless it's in a parade, in a excessive noisy situation. For example, and then list out some situations with a lot of cars or what have you. That like, for example, being encircled. So the reason why that horse reared, because he was circled by a whole bunch of motorcycles, highly dangerous. And then that's a reason for not only fining, but permanent banning. You can't ride in Springfield. Believe me, I don't want these guys, I've been doing this for 22 years. And I ride 3 times a week in Springfield with 3 different horses. And I've never been stopped by the police. I know all of them, but these guys these are the, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get off. I know I heard that the rules are already in place. You guys are just amending. I'm gonna email Robert S., the attorney, my suggestions. I hope you strongly listen to them and they're effective, because in inclusive right now, and I'll end off with this, the horse certificate, health certificate you guys are requiring. I mean, I know my vet and we talked. Health certificate is only for transportation, got the right temperature, and the horse
You're
has 30 days.
transporting the horses into Springfield, though. They're not housed in Springfield, so you're actually transporting them.
Well, let me finish, ma'am. They're
Right.
just for transport. What you need in place of a health certificate is a health scoring chart, which the vet can also do, and it has a whole bunch of categories from 1 to 9, which shows the weight of the horse, and it concludes if the horse is able to be ride safely in the streets, not only in the roads. So that's what you need. But a health certificate, it's just that you can, the person has 30 days to transfer from one location to the other, and the horse has the right temperature to do that. There's a few other things. I'm going to send them out. I hope you guys listen to them. They do make sense. It will solve your problem about riding safely. But right now, what you have is conflicting. Like, for example, right now, when I ride, it would cost me $1,800 just for the summer to ride in Springfield with the health certificate and the vet visits that you guys are, they have to require, because everything's every 30 days. I got other solutions, and thank you for your time. I'll send the email to Robert.
Well,
Can I say something?
regarding how much it costs to get that certificate. So you're saying it's $1,800 for that health certificate?
Now, in combination of the vet visits, everything expires every 30 days, and in combination with the vet visits, and because that's variable from every vet. Some it's $100, some it's just $50, some it's $100, depending on the number of horses, plus the $50 minimum for each health certificate for each horse, and that's every month.
Now, I got a question. What
Yeah.
does it cost you to ride outside the city where the horse is a house? If you're boarding somewhere, you ride for free on their property. You got a Southwick, you got Wilbraham, Hamden.
I got
You
it.
got
So what's
plenty
your
of-
first name? What's your first
You've
name?
got plenty of places to ride.
I got it, but what's
You
your first
wanna-
name? So I
if
can,
you want to, when you come in, I'll give you my name. It's already
Oh.
been mentioned.
sorry.
Horses coming into the city. You're bringing horses into a city, and then the cleanup behind the horses.
Yeah.
All big cities. If this
Yeah.
is what the people you want access, this is what it's going to take for you to ride in the city. And you have an expense with your horse. You're adding an added expense because you want to ride in the city, and then you should be riding safely. You should know what you need to do and don't do, but we need to have this stuff to protect the city and the
Right.
residents.
Right,
So, I mean, we will
Well-
take your suggestions, but this is where we're at this point. So,
Right, but
you know,
sir, so if I can
yes.
interrupt, the same thing, riding safely and all that could be done without having to cost everybody else so much money with that
Cost
scoring
who?
chart. The people that are riding. Well, why should it
Well,
cost?
no, hold on. A horse is an expense. That's a hobby. It's just like motorcycles. It's a hobby. It's an expense that come with it. If you want to ride in our city, this is what it's going to cost. You got to have a permit.
I got
And
it,
you
sir.
need to
I
have
got
all
that.
it. It's like a license. You need a license. We got a motorcycle and the bicycles and the dirt bikes on the street with your horses. That's going to be
Downstairs.
problematic.
Girls, I'm not with that group that's riding safely, but all I was just saying that it is an additional cost that is not needed, right, sir? But
Yes.
the
Okay.
purpose, well, hold on, sir, but the purpose of the permit, which is to get people to ride safely, the health certificate doesn't do it. It's a scoring chart. You can't, I mean, and the health certificate is what end up costing. So if you put a scoring chart that doesn't cost anything, it's a one-time visit by the vet, and that's it. That's a solution. I mean, leaving it as is, but you're
Isn't
not
that the
solving.
main-
You said yourself that the health certificate was for transportation, and you're transporting these horses. So
That's your
also,
expense.
up until this point, it has been free, and look at all the issues that we have had.
Sir, but with the scoring chart, you're going to assure that it's which is what you want to have because there was a complaint about skinny horses, right? Unsafe horses, it shouldn't be ridden in too hot or too cold, right? But the scoring chart is what does that. The health certificate You call any vet, which you tell them what you want to do. We want safe horses. That's what the purpose of your health certificate would be, to have a healthy horse. They will all tell you that's not what does that. It's just every vet will tell you. It's so. That's just one suggestion. It's a lot more. I'll let you go. So as I understand it, this is exactly the way it is. There's no changes and maybe some amendments. I just want to know that for sure.
Oh, it is Claudio Concepcion.
Okay.
Real quick, how much does a health certificate cost? Okay. If you want to get a health certificate for one horse, what's the cost?
It depends on the vet. It's going to be in a range of $50 to $75, and then you add the actual. But they don't. But vets don't do that at live. It requires a vet visit. So the barn visit is what costs more.
That's the expense of owning a horse. That's the expense of owning a horse. That's on you. That has nothing to do with the city.
Or the alternative, have a scoring chart, and it won't cost them anything. Bye. You guys, man.
One month is not an overly expensive expense. I don't think $50.
I'm going to email Rob.
All right.
We have to review his scoring. He's saying a vet book, they still charge potty score. Yeah. But score, no. About that with horses.
Does anyone else have anything that they want to put in for 2024 safety rules for the horse before voting on?
All those in favor?
Hey, Rob, what was that?
Well, these people will say their name.
Yeah, whoever.
Are we doing
So, who's here from Zoom that's on the commission? Danny? Danny, are you here?
Yeah, Rob, what are you saying? I can't hear you.
We're trying to vote on the first 2024 safety rules for the horse.
So just put that on the RTO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What am I putting the 185 in for?
For Nico, there's a receipt.
Who's this?
Mimic the receipt, whatever it says.
Somebody's at a store or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but then change the A number and put in Nico's.
Okay. That makes sense.
And whatever
Wow.
I did, it's there. She hasn't paid it.
We need
Okay,
a
this
host
is only
for
for the
this.
voting board members, okay? This time to speak, okay? We're looking for Danny Barlow and Fred.
No, I'm here, but I can't hear with all the background noise.
Right. It's for the rules, Danny. I accept the rules as they are. And if we need to make adjustments, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second doing that, but we do need to make some adjustments. I know Mel wanted to do some work to it, so.
Allow.
No, you wanted to add something to it, right?
Yeah, it's the tethering of the horse.
And
And also, we can allow one hand on the reins.
Yeah.
Fiery.
One hand on the reins. And no tethering of the horse to
Movable object,
movable object or a mailbox or
parking meters,
or park bench.
or block entrances or exits.
okay.
Yeah, with that being said, I'm all in favor for voting on this.
Accepting the rules as they are and with the amendments?
With the amendments, correct.
What was the amendment? I have no idea. I didn't understand it. I don't
Right.
see.
There's too much background noise. That's why a lot of people can't hear. So are you accepting them, Robert, as they are, so we can move on?
I'm in favor. I'm in favor. Wow, you with the vote.
Clodo at one count.
Right.
Let me get giving the dogs more money than the seniors. Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
Wait, what?
That's it.
And I think his horse riding application, they're going to look at the horse riding application. I believe Mel has wanted to extend the district to the end of the river, not at.
So instead of west by West Columbus Avenue, it'll be, the location of the boundary will be west by the river.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
You have to do it by people. Amy, are you in favor of extending the business district to the river?
Send a message.
Yeah, I am.
All right, how about Fred?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
in favor. Okay, looks like that's, we're all in favor on that as well.
What do you still on 2024 or are you on 2025?
Oh, this was 2025 that we were all in favor.
Hold on. 2025.
Oh.
Excuse me?
Here.
What part of 2025? Which section are you in on 2025?
It was the federal business district to extend it, to strike West Columbus and make it west by the river.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Sounds good. I was a little lost. I'm here. I got a question at the bottom of D with the fines. So let me know when you get there.
Is that 20, what number is that, Fred?
That's at the bottom, chapter 110, animals, D.
Okay,
Yeah. They need the double O's, the 50 to 100 and 200. And then that last one should be 5 or more because people are complaining, things ain't getting done, and you got to hold people accountable. So sometimes our officers don't like to write fines anyway. So, but we got to start, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, you got to hold them accountable. We live in a city.
what doc, I'm not seeing what document you're talking about. Right?
At the bottom of the first page, D at the end.
Where are you at? Are you on the rules?
Okay, the regulation, okay, so
Yeah, at the bottom. Yeah, D at the bottom. I think they should be a little more because we in our city we don't even hold people to fines, and then we had that everybody else is up there, we're always behind.
that would be a different department actually.
Okay, all right, no problem.
I'm just putting that in the application to show that there are other fines.
That already exists, Fred.
Okay, all right, that already, all right. So we can't amend that for our city or no? That's all I want to know.
You'd have to do it, a different department would have to do that, I believe.
Okay, then we'll leave it alone. We'll go on.
Anyway. Yeah. But he didn't realize it was already.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why people are there.
In regards to 2025, which is the permit.
So,
The actual permit is how much?
0, free.
Why is it free?
The city council voted for it to be free.
Oh, okay. All right, then it's free. Boy, I wish they told me my taxes were free.
Wow.
Nice.
There's no parking on Overland Avenue.
You don't need one more barrier. you make it like a $5 or something. Right.
So, is anyone here on the no parking over in Avenue or is that?
I all the time. I don't know what is in the city.
Who's this person on the call? Because every time you talk, I can't hear.
No, I don't know who that is.
Can you identify yourself if you're trying to speak and where you live, please?
Name. All right, 2026, no parking over in Avenue. Is anyone here on that? If not, I guess we're just gonna have to have a table.
Well, that's something that the city, the DPW requested, I believe. And it will only be for 90 days.
Is that the Springfield project over there? Springfield College project?
Sounds like mayor.
I don't know. Robert,
Hello?
can you hear me, Robert?
Yeah, hey, Hector, is that you?
Yes, I just going out in and out because the signal is not so good.
Okay, so 2026, no parking anytime on Wilbraham Ave. Is that?
That okay? That's regarding the school. That the park is gonna be there because they're gonna. That's regarding to a new school. I think it's Brightwood.
You good? That was good.
And because they're gonna close that Wilbraham Ave, we're gonna change to two-way instead of one-way. I'm gonna put no parking on one side.
Now, Hector, is that where Springfield College, they rearranged and
Yes.
they're taking half of the street or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because it's gonna be a two-way now. Right now it's one way, and we're gonna change it to two-way, and we can put two-way with parking on both sides.
Do you want that permanently or just for the 90 days?
It's gonna be permanent. It's gonna be permanent because we're gonna Capital Act is gonna it's gonna build a park there. They're gonna close Wilbraham is gonna be closed from Springfield to Wilbraham Road.
Okay, well, I'll second that. All those I guess the people who are on the phone would have to identify themselves and say whether they are.
I think they hung up.
Anything to say about this, for or oppose the Wilbraham Road? They put Ave here, but it's from Wilbraham Ave, but it's on Wilbraham Road. Because it's from Wilbraham Ave down to Kingston.
No parking.
Oh, here, more than that?
Yeah. I second it. All those in favor, I guess.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Right.
Aye.
Excellent, Fred. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good. No parking anytime, north side of Beverly Street. Is that you, Hector?
It's the same. It's the same street, but it's on side street.
Okay.
It's the same area.
Excuse me, Hector. Excuse me, Hector.
Yep.
Is that where they're cutting it off at? That side street where it goes back around to, what's the other road going down? Because they're taking half of Wilbraham Avenue, right?
Yes. Well, not half, but 400 feet.
Okay. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I understood. Okay.
Yeah, that's a narrow street that crosses from Wilbraham Ave to the other street. I don't know the
Yes.
name. I don't remember the name.
Yes, you're right. Me neither, but I
There
know
has
what
to
you're
be
talking.
one part.
Oh,
Yeah, no
Northampton.
parking on one side.
Yeah, Northampton Avenue. It's gonna. All right. Beverly, the cutoff. Well, you're gonna make Wilbraham Road come down, and then you could take a left on the Beverly, and then take a right on the Northampton Avenue, right? That's basically.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm okay.
So now you'll be able to do that from both ways, and just the parking that'll be affected.
I don't. I'm sorry, I can hear you very well.
No, Hector, all I added was that, and this is Mel, that Beverly will still be open. It's just that it'll affect the parking, but you'll still be able to turn onto Beverly from Wilbraham, in a northerly or southerly direction, and then turning southerly on Northampton Ave, since Northampton is one way.
I'm sorry, I can hear you very well. Fred, you hear the person well? Because I can't hear Fred, I can hear you very well, but I don't hear the other person. I don't know why.
All right, hold on.
It's
Let him
Mel
say.
talking.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Repeat yourself, Mel. The question?
Well, I was commenting, Fred, so that you knew that, Wilbraham, you'll still be able to get down Beverly both ways of the street now. You'll be able to turn left or right off of Wilbraham onto Beverly. All it affects is the parking on Beverly.
Right. The question was, he wanted to know the parking on Beverly. Is it going to be parking on one side or both sides?
One side.
One side, the north side of Beverly Street, no parking.
Yes.
Okay. 200 feet.
Yes.
All right.
I'm all in favor of that.
All right,
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Monroe Street, changing two-way traffic to one-way traffic. Is that you, Hector?
Yeah, this is Peter from Capital Asset Construction. We'll be managing the project over there. So we do have a small presentation. We'd like to change Monroe Street into a one-way in the presentation. If you could share the screen, Tim, if you guys would like to see the presentation. I know some of you guys are on the phone, but we could send you hard copies as well.
Okay.
Can everyone see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Neil Harrigan. I'm from Danisco Design. We're the architects of the project. So this project we're rebuilding the DeBerry and the Homer schools into one combined building. So there'll be two schools in one building, and it'll be adjacent to the existing DeBerry school. So this is the site of the existing DeBerry school. So it's bound by Union Street, Eastern Ave, and Monroe Street. And the kind of a close-up of it. The idea is essentially to build the school on the DeBerry Park, which is adjacent to the DeBerry school. And then when the new project is complete, as you can see there, we would tear down the existing school and build the parking lot for the teachers. So in general, for the site plan, the main bus drop-off is off of Union Street, which is currently one way. There'll be a little horseshoe or building that'll accommodate 6 buses. And there's also a little bit of parking there for handicap access on that little horseshoe road. And then there's also an additional bus drop-off for the smaller buses for the special needs students. And it'll be closer to where their classrooms are on the first floor of the Homer School. And then on the north side is parent drop-off. So when parents want to drop off their kids in the morning, they would come in along Monroe Street. And we're proposing to actually widen Monroe Street by about 8 feet so that there would be a line of live parking so parents could come drop their kids off and then get back onto Monroe Street and get on their way. And in the afternoon, it'd be the same way for pickup. So that's kind of the overall of the school project. The proposed changes as far as traffic are concerned, we'd like to convert Monroe to one-way eastbound 24/7. We also, as I talked about, would like to widen Monroe Street by about 8 feet, so it would come onto the property of the school. And then revisions to some of the parking restrictions. We'd like to maintain 6 to 8 restrictions on the south side, west of the school building. Add a no parking restriction to the north side, west of the school building, and then maintain 8 to 6 restrictions on the north side in front of the school building. And then also add a no parking zone on the south side, right in front of the school where all the parent drop off and pickup is. In addition, we'd also like to relocate the current Monroe Street mid-block crosswalk, moving it a little bit to the west so it would not conflict with the egress from the new parking lot. And then we'd also like to do some minor revisions to the signal timing, I think at Hancock Street and Hancock and Monroe, Hancock and Union, sorry, as well as State Street and Eastern Ave, I believe, that big intersection. This are some of the...
No parking on the drop-off is only during school hours?
Yeah, yes. The drop-off and pickup will only be during school hours, but I think the restrictions might apply. I guess I'm not sure how the restrictions might apply.
The restrictions would apply throughout the day. Good morning, everyone. My name's Tim Thompson. I'm with Park Corporation. We're the traffic engineer for this project. The restriction that's currently on Monroe Street in the vicinity of the school on the south side is a full-time no parking restriction. So we'd be looking to maintain that, but just designate it as a pickup drop-off area only. We have a couple of plans in this presentation here I can go through that show in a little bit more detail where the associated parking restrictions or changes would be included. So if you look at the plan that's on the screen right now, this is showing the conversion of Monroe Street to one-way eastbound only. As we just discussed, there would be the no parking section for drop-off pickup only. That would be along the north side of the building. Along the north side of Monroe Street in the vicinity of the building, we are looking to create the same restriction that's on Monroe Street now. Basically, the entirety of Monroe Street, with the exception of the area in front of the school building right now, both sides of the roadway, currently has a no parking restriction from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So basically, it only permits overnight parking. So we would be looking to keep that on the north side of Monroe Street in the vicinity of the school. And then once you move to the west, away from where the school building is, away from where we would be doing any widening of Monroe Street, where we would be keeping that existing curb to curb width, there would be a no parking restriction at any time along the north side of the road. And then we would be maintaining that no parking just from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the south side of the road. You can also see in this diagram the location of the relocated crosswalk. We're putting it closer to the driveway onto Monroe Street to provide safe visibility of the crosswalk. I also just want to point out too on the right side of the diagram here, we're adding a minor modification at the Eastern Street intersection where we're bumping out the north side of the crosswalk there, or the sidewalk there, to provide a shorter crossing distance and also to align vehicles a little bit farther to the south on Monroe Street. There's a building you can make out in the aerial there that has it's very close to the back of the sidewalk that has a little bit of a restriction on sight distance. So moving vehicles down to the south side is going to be a safety improvement for that approach. I think we can go to the next slide, Neil.
Listen, I'm no engineer, but as far as being a police officer for many years, and a lot of schools and issues with traffic, it's not just kids, but we found that parents tend to, if they do walk their kids, they generally violate the rules as far as crossing their children, and they take the easiest path. it's almost like the way the crow flies. Are there gonna be any crosswalks down by Eastern? I mean, I know there's gonna be crosswalks, but there's not gonna be nothing designated for the school?
So the, Neil, if you can go back to the previous slide. There are existing crosswalks across each leg of the intersection with Monroe and Eastern. So those are marked. There's accessible ramps that are provided there. So those will remain in place and will be used very similar to how they are today with the existing DeBerry operations.
There's crosswalks as well down at Union Street and Eastern Avenue, so all the intersections will have the crosswalks in place.
This particular mid-block crosswalk that's shown here provides a connection to the north side of Monroe Street where there's the library and church. There are parents that tend to use those parking lots during pickup and drop-off operations too. So that the proposed crosswalk there provides a safe connection across Monroe Street.
So while school is in session, obviously that's gonna be always, Monroe is gonna always be, actually Monroe and Union in that area will be 20 miles an hour. Has that been proposed, obviously? I mean, it should be while school is in session now, 20 miles an hour, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And my one other question, not to beat you dead here, is the fire department. I mean, I'm surprised that they did they respond as far as aware that Monroe was going to become a one-way away from the Eastern Street Fire Station.
We presented it to them. They didn't have negative comments about it.
Okay.
We've had probably 6 to 8 outreach meetings throughout the community with this project as well as the park. So we have been out there letting people know that this is coming. We've met with the abutters, the direct abutters. There was some concerns with changing it into the one-way, but we've been working with DPW and we have a little bit more outreach to do, not a little bit more, a lot more outreach to do. We just wanted to get it in front of the traffic commission so you guys weren't, you know, who's first kind of thing. So we're still out there doing the outreach and we will continue to do that. So any input that you have, we can incorporate it into the plan. We've been using a lot of flashing beacons. We've done that down at Brightwood. And that was one of the comments that came out of the neighborhood groups as well, as to you push the button, the beacon comes on. It's not flashing all day long. So those have, there's a lot of interest in those, and we've been running those through the DPW as well. So when we turn it over, they're capable. One of the outreach comments, a lot of the comments came from State Street. The signaling there, so we're going to take a look at the signaling there and see if we can adjust it to better accommodate the neighborhood, but we're still working through those details with the DPW. The big thing is to make sure this is the basis of our design, is to make Monroe Street a one-way, so we just want to get that in front of you.
I have a question for Schubrick. One of the abutters, the church, St. John's Church, have they had any feedback to you guys about the parking on Monroe? I mean, Sundays is a busy day for them, and they know they park on Monroe and sometimes on both sides. So I would be curious or wondering how that would work, because school's not in on Sundays. Will they be able to park on both sides of that one-way street?
We actually, one of our outreach meetings was with St. John's Church. We had it in their facility.
Okay.
They reacted positively to the one-way. It would make their traffic flow a little easier. One of the comments that came out of that. I'm not sure about parking on both sides of Monroe for just one day. That's kind of a DPW, because there was talk about making it two-way on Sundays, and it just didn't
No.
it doesn't work very well when you start doing that kind of thing. And so we did get the comments back from St. John's and W on making that. Tim, maybe you can, I'm not sure about parking on both sides of the street on Monroe Street on Sundays.
Before you answer, how wide is that street going to be? Because that will dictate if you can park. Because we were trying to get a clear definition of a legally wide street in the city. There's parking on each side of the street. You need about 7 to 8 feet, and then you need 12 feet for emergency vehicles to get through. So how wide is that street going to be when you guys are done?
Yeah, so I can answer that. That's the street's currently 25 feet wide.
Okay.
So you'll notice on the left side of this diagram, there's the parking area that's on the south side of the road. That's an 8-foot wide parking area, then a 12-foot wide travel lane, and a 5-foot wide shoulder. So we don't have enough room to provide a 12-foot wide travel lane and then parallel parking on both sides of the street.
Are you taking 8 feet? You said something about taking 8 feet off one side?
8 feet's being provided for the parking area in front of the school. So the section of Monroe Street that's directly in front of the building where the parent pickup and drop off is going to be located, only that section is going to be widened 8 feet. So we can provide a pull-out area for parent traffic.
All right. So that from Hancock up, it's just going to remain the same.
Correct. We're not doing no widening there.
Okay. All right. All right. As long as the church is fully aware of that, because I know parking's always been a big deal for them on Sunday mornings. I mean, it's not school hours. And then sometimes they do have funerals on school hours too. So
right.
It gets a little crowded, congested. All right. That's my only concern. Thanks.
Great.
Another slide? Okay.
We just have one more slide, just why the changes are needed. So the one-way traffic on Monroe would improve student safety during drop-off and pickup, eliminating students crossing traffic. So the parents will be, the kid will be on the right side of the car, and the car will be more closer to the schools if it's one way. Widening Monroe will pull the parent queue out of the travel lanes, as Tim has mentioned. So it'll still be just as wide as it is now with the travel and the parking adjacent to it. And implementing one-way traffic on Monroe during construction will also improve construction access and safety. That's one thing we're very concerned about, is when they are building the school, that it's very safe because the school will be operational. So we feel that making it one-way will definitely improve the safety. And then the Monroe intersection rework will improve the sight lines at Eastern Ave, as Tim has previously mentioned.
I got one more question. Up top on Monroe and Eastern Avenue, we just have put a 4-way stop sign. Is all that 4-way intersection at the top going to be crosswalk for residents, pedestrians to get across? Because there's a 4-way stop sign up there.
Yes.
That's correct. Those crosswalks across each of those 4 legs will remain.
Okay. All right. Those, because we had a lot of accidents there before those stop signs. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. All right. That's approved.
Okay.
2028 has been approved.
So just so I understand the process, is there a time? Do we come back the next meeting, or?
No, it's going to go before the city council now that we approved it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Traffic control agreement. Yeah. So basically, the mascot is requiring that we sign over a traffic control agreement with intersection improvement project that I've been working on for the last 6 months. It's completed, and it just needs to be signed off by the city council and the recommendation of the city council. So reviewed it and I recommend that we sign it.
Yeah. I second it. From what I understand, and I can be corrected, the only thing about this really is that you basically, city is signing on for the funds, and they will carry on with the maintenance of it. And police will carry on with the enforcement. Yep. We're supposed to have someone from the floor.
Well, that's it.
Oh, you're doing that with it. Okay.
So, second and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sure, Avenue Project 2029 is approved.
Okay.
30. No parking anytime west side of Morton Street, Delaware Avenue, northerly. That you have to, well.
Fred, did you submit that? That's great.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah, the last two, yes.
Okay.
We want parking. I would like to add, and I just gave it to Hector, I think it was Wednesday, no parking any time in Tollway. Because a lot of we got new residents and they're not complying. They're, I can do what I want in the neighborhood now. So we're trying to preserve our neighborhood. If you have to tow the car, you should be able to tow it, That's the only thing I want.
It's a tow zone.
Yeah.
And why tollway? It's on public property. Is it how can you tow it?
No. Because the one side where we're permitting, where we're saying no parking,
okay.
and you can't get the vehicle by, and they don't want to move, and the officer say, hey, move your car, and they want to be a jerk. He should have the right. Well, I could just tow it now because there's no parking anytime in the tollway zone. That's the way I.
It was a thin street. All right. That was my only question.
Make a motion.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
And this is
Aye.
the 30th one.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that's Fred's also, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fred,
Yeah.
Danny?
So 30 and 31, putting them on both of them together.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
No, I second it. And so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay, Fred. Fred, you in favor?
Yes. Okay. Aye.
All right. Looks like that's
Robert.
The first Monday of August. No,
Last Monday of August.
October. First Monday of October.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
October.
next Monday after that. And hopefully we can vote on these force applications because if anyone wants to apply. Is this a waste of time?
No, Robert, excuse me, sorry.
We're gonna meet on the same Zoom.
Yeah, it's probably
Hey, Robert.
Daniel.
We're here.
Hey, I think Hector's trying to talk to you.
Hey, Hector, what's up?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the traffic control agreement, Carter Street.
It was approved.
Was approved? Okay, I was out because I asked the
29.
Okay.
Yeah.
AT&T is not working for me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, Hector.
Yes.
We need.
Hello?
Okay, guys, are we done with the agenda? Did we run through everything?
I think we did, Dan.
All right, Fred. I will see you guys. Have a great day.
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
All right.
Is the meeting
You too.
adjourned? Did we make a motion? Do we have to make a motion on Zoom to adjourn the meeting?
No.
I guess not.
Maybe they can, I don't know if they can hear us.
Okay. I guess we make our own motion and we hang up on them. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Did we make a motion to end the meeting? Are we
No,
all set?
I just don't know how to get out of this. Someone set it up for us.
Oh,
So I guess
okay.
stay in for
Yeah.
All right.
forever.
All right.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done? All right, gentlemen. Nice seeing everybody and hearing everybody. Have a blessed day. All right.
Thanks.
All right.